Collins' indictment of apartheid evoked considerable criticism, as many felt that his outspokenness around the situation in South Africa would mean that support work in the country could be hindered by the government. Although government repression had almost completely destroyed the already weakened defence and aid committees in South Africa, there were those who felt that Collins' provocative statement seemed to have sealed the fate of the local committees as the government responded by banning the South African Defence and Aid Fund on 18th of March 1966 in terms of the Suppression of Communism Act. This was the beginning of IDAF's existence as an underground organisation in South Africa and its operations in the shadows of St Paul's Cathedral, in the basement of Collins' residence at 2 Amen Court in London. Faced with the new security challenges brought about by their banning in South Africa, IDAF now sought a means through which they could continue their work in the country and circumvent the efforts of infiltration by the South African security police and their associates who operated in Britain. This help came in the form of Neville Rubin, an exiled South African lawyer who devised the circuitous method through which to channel funds for legal assistance into South Africa. This involved setting up a system of barriers that concealed the link between Amen Court and the South African lawyers. According to Herbstein, the system worked on need to know, a device utilised by intelligence services. Rubin further suggested that Martin Bayer, a partner at lawyers Burbeck Montagues, become the intermediary between IDAF and the legal matters that IDAF were funding. Known only as Mr. X in order to conceal any connection with IDAF, Bayer was later succeeded by William Frankel. Adding another layer of secrecy to their security strategy, Collins and Bayer decided to set up 3 trusts, all of which served as a cumulative smokescreen to channel funds. The advent of the banning order also meant that funding for the second clause, which was the Welfare Assistance Programme, had to be set up in a similar way to the legal assistance for the work of the first clause. In her autobiography, Foot Soldier for Freedom, Rika Hodgson described the way in which the work of the second clause worked. Employing similar methods as those used for the Legal Assistance Programme, the Welfare Assistance Programme created a strategy for identifying and assisting those suffering families of activists. According to Hodgson, this was a difficult process, but through the laborious and dedicated research of staff and volunteers, an index was created containing the names of people who required aid. Hodgson recounted, "We created a filing system to catalogue thousands of names and addresses, and where we could to record their circumstances based on information gleaned from press reports and other sources. This was nothing less than an alphabetical inventory of struggle and suffering these people had experienced firsthand or through their loved ones. Everything from banning to house arrest, detention to crooked courtrooms, exile and banishment, murder in prison, hanging and torture." From as early as the 1970s, Rika Hodgson and Phyllis Altman had already started the letter-writing programme by making use of intermediaries to send money to dependents in South Africa of those that had been imprisoned, detained or banned by the apartheid government. The use of intermediaries was also considered a security measure in order to conceal any connection between IDAF and beneficiaries of the funding. Rika Hodgson, who was in charge of the Welfare Assistance Programme, recruited intermediaries with no apparent political association to the liberation struggle in South Africa. Guided by a 12-point list of instructions that was drawn up by Hodgson of what they could talk about in their letters, correspondents would send money along with accompanying letters to beneficiaries in South Africa. In her autobiography, Hodgson provided an example of what the format of such a letter might have looked like. Under strict instructions over what subject matters to discuss in letters to recipients in South Africa, Hodgson drafted a basic format for intermediaries to follow. It read as, "Dear Mrs. or Mr. insert name of South African recipient, I was sad, sorry, upset to learn of your circumstances, the circumstances of your husband, son, brother, and together with a few friends will try to send you some money regularly. Please reply. I will not know if you've received this. If you reply, I will send you the next amount we have collected on your behalf." According to Al Cook, former Deputy Director of IDAF, this made for a system with a built-in security that was virtually impregnable as well as accountable in auditing terms. Expanding on Hodgson's description of the way in which the letter-writing program worked, Herbstein explained further how the pen pal operation worked. A covering letter and cash arrived at their homes in a bulky registered package from Reverend Williams, the Reverend Austin Williams of St. Martin's in the Fields, Trafalgar Square, across the road from South Africa House. That was the first cutout. They in turn mailed a money order to a family in South Africa who believed it to be a personal gift from the sender. The family wrote back a thank you letter which served as a receipt. The correspondent, now acting purely as conduit, mailed the thank you letter to another clerical go-between at an address in London. This priest was the welfare equivalent of Mr. X. He was the second cutout. At first, these letters were kept in the basement of the Collins home at Amen Court because of their sensitive nature, before they were moved to a nondescript office near London Bridge. This is Amen Court.